In this episode of the Girl Dad Outdoors podcast, I sit down with Karlee Winkelman, a second-generation outdoor media professional and the daughter of legendary outdoorsman Babe Winkelman. Growing up traveling the world, filming hunting and fishing adventures, she developed a deep respect for conservation and storytelling at an early age. Today, Karlee has built her own platform through authentic content focused on fishing, education, and stewardship. We talk about her journey in the industry and how parents can help their daughters feel confident and at home in the outdoors. We're joined today by Karlee Winkelman. Yep, daughter of that guy, Babe Winkelman. Karlee, thanks for joining Girl Dad Outdoors podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, like we always do, tell us a little bit about where you're at today, what your profession is, what you like to do, and then let's paint the path backwards of how you got there and how you were influenced along the way to arrive at where you're at.
Sure. Yeah. So today I am a business owner in small town Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. And I have a media business, so I create content for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And then I also, on the flip side, am like a UGC content creator in the outdoors. So creating fishing content, traveling, all sorts of stuff.
Very nice. How long have you been doing that?
I have been an outdoor creator on social media for probably 2.5 years or so, really taking it seriously, and then business owner for about 6.
But probably all of your life is
Yeah.
pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. So when you're not working, doing those things, also at the end, we'll talk about how, if anyone has interest in those services, how they can get a hold of you. When you're not doing those things, what do you like to do?
I like to fish just as a hobby too, or just hang out on the water, be close to the water. I love the North Shore, going up to Lake Superior. Fly fishing is something I like to do as well, which fishing, being a job and a hobby is whatever, but just getting outside, being in nature, doing a hike, taking the dogs, that sort of a thing.
Nice. How, it is always interesting when your work is also your passion. How do you manage breaking those two apart so that you can enjoy it when you're trying to do it for fun and not for profit?
Yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting balance, interesting dynamic. Growing up, watching my dad kind of deal with the same thing, I've taken a few notes, but I don't know. It doesn't always feel like work. Sometimes there's a specific mission when I go out and I know what I'm going to do and I'm going to film it and whatever. Other times it's like I'm just out fishing and like I might catch a really great fish, might throw it up on Instagram or whatever, but just being out there, don't always need the camera gear, don't always need like 4 GoPros and the mics and everything, sometimes just go for fun. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of try to stay in my lane and do what I could do best, and whether that be sorry, I just totally got sidetracked thinking about my dad going out yesterday and stuff, and yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I just do the best I can to navigate it.
Cool. So let's talk about what it was like for someone like me who grew up in Minnesota in the Midwest. When you thought about fishing, when you thought about hunting, like the name synonymous with that was Babe Winkelman. And that, as I was talking to Karlee earlier off air, that was a global reach because of the outlets that he was on. But for some of the people who may not be familiar, talk about your upbringing and weave into that the first time you went outdoors.
Sure. My upbringing, I grew up on a small private lake in Brainerd, Minnesota, so there was no like big public access, and that means that there wasn't really any big fish either, just like little bluegills and stuff. But we didn't even have really a boat on there. We just kind of had like a paddle boat type thing. So a lot of my growing up consisted of me being like not necessarily an only child. I have 4 half sisters, but never really grew up with them, so I kind of did everything solo. Fish all the time out on the private lake. And then my first experience in the outdoors was, from what I hear, at 3 months old. So I was 3 months old. My parents dragged me on a turkey hunt and filmed a show with me. It was just a little baby.
So we can confirm you don't have memory recollection at 3 months old.
Right. Yeah, no, but I mean, just so many different adventures between there and like when I could start getting a grip on stuff and like, let's say fifth grade. So yeah, there's a lot of travel.
Yeah. So you traveled with all the time.
Pretty
Uh,
much. That's what my mom wanted for sure. She didn't want me to be left out of everything. She wanted me, they always told me that the best education is the one you got in the real world. So when they take
Absolutely.
me out there and I could meet people and like learn life lessons, challenge myself, get rewards from that. It's a little bit different experience in the classroom.
Absolutely, it is. Real world's always the best. While you were doing that, what was, you talk about fifth grade, it really started sticking. What was it in fifth grade, if you're thinking back, that started to stick? What caused it to stick? Because, what we like to do here on the podcast is guys trying to integrate their daughters into what they do. So anything that we can pick up to help make that bond and make that more natural, think about what that was and what triggered you, because that might be something someone can take away.
Yeah, so I would say like what really clicked for me was kind of crazy, but like my parents wanted to take me to Alaska. And so I was, at the time, we would have to like go to the library and check out our books and read books all the time. So I was always checking out these books called Julie of the Wolves. And it was based on this like Native American girl up in Alaska, like live with these wolves, whatever. So I loved that stuff. And my parents
Ah,
told me, oh, we're going to go to Alaska. We want to go halibut fishing and stuff, and you're going to come. And so that was one of the biggest and like first trips that I remember that was pretty crazy and super cool. And like Dutch Island, no, sorry, Dutch Harbor, Alaska.
wow.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the memory stuck.
So fast forward from there, start thinking about you transition. You had access to electronics growing up. How big of a role did they play growing up, and how did you and your parents balance, you know, access to electronics versus get outside with us and do some stuff, or incorporating those electronics into those events?
Sure. I would say that I was kind of different than the other kids, and like I wasn't super involved in like what was going on. I didn't really understand like what texting was. I didn't get a Facebook until after a lot of the other kids. Like I just wasn't this like doing those same activities. And then once I did get on social media and stuff, there was such a like just so many people coming in my DMs and like coming out. And I was like 13. So my parents then were like, you just maybe shouldn't have social media. And so I literally didn't have any social media. I would just text my friends here and there. And then I got social media again when Instagram came out. I got an Instagram because my parents felt like it was better.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. But I really loved it because I've always loved art. So I was like, oh, great pictures. Like pictures are so fun. And then I learned, well, when you post a picture of like you and a big bear that you shot, people maybe don't love that. So then I had to go on my own journey of like, what's how am I going to show up online to like keep my identity safe, keep things private, like,
Yeah.
but still be who I am and be authentic. I don't know. Technology is a little tricky.
No, it is, but it's also a great example, because what is it you do again for a living?
Social media.
Exactly. And you didn't grow up utilizing it until you were a little bit older. So it's okay to delay those activities, but explain the value in the delay, because, it's, as you proved, you can pick them up and turn it even into a career if you don't access it early. Other than, so I'm imagining fishing drove a big piece. You talked about reading books. What were some of the other driving factors that you enjoyed and led you to wanna to go on adventures and even start eventually getting out on your own?
My parents were really good in not just having me experience the hunt and everything or the fish experience, but having me, I would always have to write a journal. So, like, to justify being gone from school, I would have to do all my homework and write a journal, but that was fine. So, the journal would be, like me when I was little, I would draw pictures of what I did. I'd tell the story through my eyes in this journal, and then I'd have to go back and like share it with the kids. So storytelling has just always been a really great thing for me. Like seeing people be inspired, seeing them get excited and curious and asking questions. And so I knew that I wanted to do something that, I feel like changing lives is like a really big statement. I don't know if that's really what it is, but at least being able to change people's perspectives and their moods and their attitudes towards the outdoors, so that I've taken the storytelling aspect of it into what I do today and like try to use that as much as I can.
That's amazing to ask the kid to journal. Do you ever revisit those? Like now today, do you go back and look at them?
No idea where they are, unfortunately.
You
Yeah,
were supposed to have a way better answer for that. I'm teasing.
I do have one though, like there was a journal, the last journal I ever made was when my dad took me to Alaska for the last time. We did, just him and I, we did a blacktail deer hunting experience. So I wrote this like really long journal, typed it all out, did this whole thing, and it got published in a magazine, like pieces and parts of it, 'cause it was so long. And that was like my final exit to journaling. I just one big one and I mic dropped, and that one's still around somewhere. I don't know where,
Very
but
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. If so now today you still hunt, still fish. How active are you? How many days you out on the water? What do you like to participate in?
I do hunting. It's a little bit different for me these days because it's all public land based here in Minnesota, which is fun. I enjoy it. It's been a new challenge, something I haven't been used to. So I've been able to learn and like have other people teach me, which has been cool. How many days out in the water? Geez, more than I keep track of. Between ice season and open water. I bought my first boat 2 years ago, so I've been using that and looking at transitioning maybe this summer into my dad's old polar craft and kind of decking it out and ripping with that for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I'm out there a lot, as much as I possibly can be, for sure.
Nice. And you think back, you go to target a lake. How much do you harken back to what your dad has taught you? How often does that come into play? Because now you're on the water so much, you've developed your own methodologies, your own techniques. How much of what he inspired in you do you call upon on a daily basis?
I would say quite a bit. Definitely a lot of the basics and a lot of the mindset too. It's tough with like the new sonar technology and all the new baits and all the new this and the that that's out there to really go back to, the 1990s or the early 2000s. And but I think that patterning fish, a lot of the methods of understanding like what they're doing is still really relevant. So understanding the weed lines, understanding the breaks, the structure of a lake, those are all things that it doesn't matter if you got a live scope or not, they're still really important. And those are all things that came from him. So
That's
definitely
cool.
quite a bit.
I want to go back because you did such big trips and you had such big adventures. Were there small things that you did when you were at home and not on those adventures that really stick with you and drive what you do today? Because that's one of the things. The great stories behind you and your upbringing are these giant adventures. But also, what were those interactions on a day-to-day basis that were out in the woods, the local waters, that really clicked with you as a kid, that drove you to want to be in the industry now that you're an adult?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, there is a lot. I mean, but what made me want to be in the industry? I think going kind of back to another question, like my parents didn't just give me the great experiences. They really brought me, I mean, they brought me to banquets, they brought me up on stage, they brought me on the radio, they brought me like to autograph sessions, like legitimately every aspect of their life that they were going through with the company. Be at the company Christmas parties, running through the office, like knowing everybody, loving them all as a family, that being really tightly integrated with Babe Winkelman Productions, seeing that, like, even just experiencing, like, when you're sitting in a tree, there's so much you don't see that happens between you and the camera guy. And again, like, those people just become family, and you realize that the outdoors can be so much bigger than just a singular experience. And as far as out, like, stuff that I did outdoors on the day to day, I have to go back to, like, the little lake I grew up on because I would do all this stuff and then I would want to go back and do it myself. So like
Ah,
great, Dad. That was so much fun crappie fishing with you. Like, let me go do it myself now. And so then just being out there and seeing the fish, like learning that by August, the sunfish kind of have a little tan line from their fins because they're so close to the surface, and that I could fillet a fish myself. Like, that was a whole experience for me, you know? So, and he had a big fillet station in the garage. So he'd come in with his limits and fillet them all out, and I'd get a watch. But then I'd want to go catch a bluegill and come home and like fillet it myself. So just, watching and learning and recreating was really impactful, and seeing him be who he was inspired me to use my talents and the things that I was passionate about to like the fullest capacity.
That's so cool. Being an industry expert like your dad was and having a little kid in tow, how much of your learning was observing versus being taught?
Pretty much all of it. Pretty much all of it. Yeah, it was an interesting upbringing with that. I got taught how to drive like an actual boat by one of like the crew members that worked for my dad. So like he is very busy, and there's with
Yeah.
13 fishing shows and 13 hunting shows, that's 13 weeks, if not more, that he's gone out of my life because he's on the road. And if I'm lucky, I get to go on a few, but yeah, he was really busy providing.
No, i- but just the willingness to take you along, because I did something similar with my kids because I'd travel for work, but when I'd have meetings in the cities, I'd bring them with. If it was a coffee meeting, they'd sit in and they'd just sit there and they'd observe and they'd learn, and now they know how to have business conversations. So, you don't I talk a lot about taking time to explain, taking time to uh, help your daughter understand, but there's also a lot of value in just being present in your own capacity, because you're proof positive that even though you're busy, you just being there, you were able to learn in your own way and carry it forward. So that's there's no right way to do this. It's do the way that works best for you, and it'll work out. But the main thing is just be present, and be include your daughters in anything that we do.
Totally, totally. Yeah, there's so many things that were boy things that I'm so grateful I got to go and do and be a part of, and like definitely built a good character for sure, being able to be along on all of it. So,
Did you run into any, I can't believe I'm going to say this, boy bias? Because when it was time to go to the hunting camp, there'd never been a girl in hunting camp before. So all the guys are like, "What? What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "No, she's coming." And
yeah.
it was awesome once she got there, but there was hesitation before she got there. Did you experience that at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always that element of everybody wants to be tough, and they think they know best and they think they know better. And I don't know, I think you can take everything with a grain of salt. Everybody's had their own experience, but I also think that that's something that is changing in today's
Yes.
world, which is really good to see. There seems like there's a lot more space opening up for females to be in the angling community and not be treated like crap, and also be given not just their dad's like 3X hand-me-downs, but actually women-based like gear. And that's amazing. Like, that's so cool. So yeah, I definitely ran into it, but again, just really built the character, made me tough, made me headstrong, made me realize like you can't tell me anything. Like, I'll just go do it, So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's the way I raised my girls too. Don't say can't and don't say quit.
mhm.
That's a mantra. So the if I look at if I look at your trajectory, how in the social media sphere where you operate, it's an interesting space, right? Because with AI entering the equation, real, fake, authentic, how do you feel that a dad with a young daughter, you know, social media can play a big game because it keeps them interested. Do you have any tips like how to slowly bring a kid along in the social media world to help drive their interest because of the posts that they can make?
Yeah. I think there's an element to me that says like kind of protect your kids, especially with the social media, especially with them being girls. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. People are AI making me, like remaking me and posting me in groups, and I'm not posting in there. Like they're doing crazy stuff out there. Um, I think social media, everything can be good and bad. It's important to like have very good boundaries, I would say, and very good clear communication and like respect both ways. And like, yeah, I'm just very cautious with it. But as far as having fun, like I think finding some of those groups perhaps on social media, like the Facebook groups and stuff, that are maybe more geared towards that, where they can see, oh, this person and their kid went out, and this person and their kid went out. Like, I went out with my dad. Like, I want to share our photo, Dad. Something like that. Like, there's one like walleye, I think it's just like walleye group or whatever. And everybody's just sharing pictures like, hey, I caught a walleye at the river. Hey, I caught a walleye at the lake. And like it's fun to just get on there and like compare walleye and like talk about techniques and stuff. So I would definitely move towards like some of those safer options where you're gonna see kind of what you're doing, not necessarily all the other hoopla that's out there, but just kind of
Yep.
see something where you can inspire them.
Yeah, there's a lot of danger out there. I've my girls are older. I do stuff with my nieces. They're younger, but if I were to do it all over, I think the inclusion. I might start with a family profile, right? So you can share experiences and they can watch the feedback and share that feedback, but maybe use that as a family bonding mechanism as well.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great idea. Letting the family members comment, oh, nice catch, that sort of a thing builds confidence.
Absolutely. And they still get the on demand, like the on demand gratification of, oh, someone liked it. They still get that because you, you don't have to wait for much anymore, do you?
No,
I'm,
no, it's pretty fast.
yeah, even, you know, uh, I use AI for work. And just because I'm too lazy to do the research. So I'll just use AI tools to pull stuff together. So then I can quickly educate myself and make my PowerPoint slides off what I've learned just from pulling it together. But there's a lot of other uses for it.
Totally.
One of the other things that I do with our nieces is I try to include them with game cameras. So one of them likes to come up and hunt. So when a photo comes in, it'll be sent to her, or I'll FaceTime and have them use Onyx fish. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
go to I want to go fish crappie. Let's pick a lake. So choose crappies, find a lake, and then pick a couple spots, and then we can report back. That's also a way to include technology, but maybe not the dangerous aspect of social media at a young age.
That's a really great idea for sure. I really like that. I've never heard of someone doing that. That's a good one.
I just trademarked it. To your point, you have people using your likeness, utilizing AI to create your likeness, uh, which is just crazy. Karlee? How do you manage that when you see something that's portraying you but's not you? How do you even go about dealing with that?
At first, I have to just take a minute and cringe and just oof. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta address it somehow. So I usually comment or try to, it's really often, it's like not even people that you can talk to, like they're not even real. It's just robotic accounts just doing crazy stuff. I don't even know, but I always just try to leave a comment like, hey, this is depicting me, like please take it down or give me credit. Hey, you're using my photo, you've morphed it in some weird way, but I know that this is me in my photo. Please take it down, stop using it. And they don't. I mean, I've learned pretty quick that it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. And that's again kind of going back to that like sketch part. It's like it's lawless. It's literally lawless. And for people who are making money out here, those people are taking us and making money off of us. It's crazy. There's so many layers to it. So I try to keep a positive attitude. I don't address anything negatively, just positive. Just please take it down. Do what I can. Try to report it. That's another big thing. Just block it, report it, get it out of there.
How has the reporting process and stuff like that been? Is action generally taken, or is it just kind of like, meh?
Meh.
That's kind of what I figured. So, hunting, fishing. Did you get into the cooking aspect of things? Do you prepare what you catch and eat? And was that something that you learned along the way as well?
Oh, yeah, you could go back and see some super embarrassing bits of me in the kitchen with my mom. So it's He's like, Karlee, sprinkle the cheese. And I'm like, all right, all right. Like I had little jobs too. So I definitely got to see the full circle of it. And I think my parents did a great job in their show showing that as well. But being part of it firsthand, my mom was such a good cook, like such a good cook. So then I obviously went off to like live on my own, and I was like, well, I got to start making these meals because I want pheasant casserole and I want like fried crappies. So yeah, I started learning myself, and then I got really into it just even watching more cooking shows today, being able to see them like doing the butter basting on a steak. It's like I could try that, like I could do that. So yeah, I definitely do. And then I went on to do other things, like I like to catch rainbow trout, and so learning how to skin fry, like doing that whole situation. And yeah, absolutely cleaning, cooking, preparing, keeping, storing, all the different things around whatever it is, the venison or the fish, is very important.
Cool. So how do you y- now? There's you had. Did you say you have three half sisters?
Four.
Four half sisters. Okay,
They're
so
all old. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. You're the youngest of five. How do you? I mean, you live in a big shadow, right? You grew up in a big shadow. You traveled along with it. Do you feel the necessity to carry on the legacy? Do you have plans to expand what you do into into more of what your dad did? How does that loom large on you?
There's a lot of demand for bring the television show back. We want to watch you, we want to watch Babe, we want to this and that. And there's an aspect of my life that was built around traveling, like always, 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 even if it was just to the cabin and back or with local trips, like always moving. And so when all of that kind of came to a stop, there's still that feeling inside of me, like I gotta keep moving, I gotta keep doing these things, I gotta travel. I'm not satisfied if I'm not seeing different scenery all the time. Like, I don't know how to explain it, it's a crazy thing. So that has been a huge driving force for me to get back to what I do now, realizing like I can try to do a desk job and that's not going to work for me. Like, I have to be everywhere all the time. And with that, yeah, I mean, everybody's in the rat race of YouTube right now, it seems like, and it's just Joe Blow outdoors, this and that outdoors. And it's like, I think that keeping it extremely authentic, keeping it unique, not doing what everybody's doing just for the sake of doing it and being a participant in it. When I come out with whatever that's going to be, whether it is a type of YouTube program or a streaming program or a television show, or Lord only knows, like I know there's a plan. And I just try to do the best I can every day. But when it comes out, it'll definitely be a little bit different, a little bit something that people aren't seeing every day, because I've had a lot of inspiration from a lot of different places. I want to bring that to the table for the viewers, not the everyday fishing experiences. Those are amazing. We'll do those as well. But I want something extraordinary. And so that's going to take some time. But yes, plans to carry the legacy on for sure.
That's awesome. And you hit it on the head. Pure fishing content. We're flooded, right? You can go to YouTube and you can watch anything. You just have such a unique opportunity because of traveling with the show for that long. Even the journaling, right? The forced recall, even though you can't find those journals, at some level they've stuck in your head because you were forced to put pen to paper. So that's great. We can't wait for you to put something out like that. Where can people find you, Karlee, if they want to find more information about Karlee Winkelman, Black Wolf, all the things you have going on?
Yeah, so my Instagram, I'm probably most active on. Facebook page, I have a Karlee Winkelman Facebook page, and I don't do a whole lot on TikTok anymore, but I'm really on those two. Little bit on, featuring in different people's episodes and whatnot on YouTube. But if you're trying to contact me, Instagram is probably the best way.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Karlee, as we always wrap up with, as you think back to growing up, if you could speak to one of the dads that are listening to this that has a daughter and they're trying to figure out how to bond with them, get them out into nature, what's a little nugget of information that you could leave that might help that be an easier process for them?
I would say you can only control so much. So if you provide a really nice set and setting and you bring your daughter out there, then try to see the experience through her eyes in a way, because she's gonna, like, she's experiencing it all, you know, for someone of the first time or just trying to get familiar with it. So what you think is fun versus what she thinks is fun might be two different things. But if you can at least let her engage with what you're doing, and I can say firsthand, like, I used to play with minnows. That was like one of my favorite things. And I'm so glad nobody stopped me, you know, because that kept my curiosity, kept me connected, kept me enjoying the experience, even if I wasn't doing, you know, the jigging action correctly. Like, I still remember those things, and they were great. So definitely just provide a good set and setting and then let it all unfold and do it with like curiosity and an open mind.
Awesome. There you guys heard it straight from Karlee Winkelman. Karlee, thank you for joining us on Girl Dad Outdoors podcast, and we'll talk to everyone next time. Thank you.
Thanks.
4 girls running free down a gravel road, barefoot dreams where the tall pines grow, each one different, strong and true. I just thank God I get the view, from sunrise lines to firelight hours, watched them bloom like wildflowers. This is our story, wild and true. Girl Dad Outdoors, raising daughters with a view.